What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the garage. And as usual, we have nothing but awesome, silly difficulties going on. The intro didn't play right. For some reason, last weekend, I had all this stuff all sorted out, saved it, ready to go. None of it stuck, as usual. But I'm trying to dial in the audio now because that also did not stick. So if I come across a little loud, I should be a little bit better now. Okay, guys, what is going on? It is Thursday night, which means it is In Tune Live with the Garage, everybody's favorite live automotive tuning and performance video, stream, podcast, yada, blah, everything. And the people are rolling in as usual. A lot of familiar faces out there. But let me go ahead and do what I always do, which is to start off by acknowledging the new patrons. We got a slew of new patrons as usual. David Estrada, B Max, Scuba Sam signed up. He's probably in here somewhere. 92 LSC Kid signed up. If he's not here, he will be here before the night is over. Josu, Kevin, and Wyatt. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate everybody so much. As always, if you have any interest in the Patreon, check out the links down in the description, or you can go to goatropegarage.com. There's a link directly there. You get access to some cool videos. We're doing some drawings. In fact, we're doing a drawing right now that ends tomorrow for a free 30-minute one-on-one tuning session. So, you still have a chance to sign up for that or get in that if you have not already. Patrons, if you're a patron and you're in here and you've not already done that, go check it out on the Patreon. There's a post about how to win that free 30-minute session. On top of it, thank you to all the new subscribers. We got dinged this week by the YouTube monster, and it took about 500 subscribers off the list, but that's not the end of the world. Hold on a second, guys. We're still peeking out a little bit here. How's that? Okay. Took about 500 subscribers off the list. Not the end of the world. We had a lot of old subscribers from some videos I put up years ago that were no longer around. Those subscribers got purged off for being deactivated or inactive, I guess. So we are back down to 5,600, but we'll still break. Probably hit 6,000 right here around Halloween before the end of the month because you guys are the greatest. You guys have been awesome at sharing all the links out there, sharing the tuning101.com link, man. I still don't know how I managed to snag that domain, but I will never get rid of tuning101.com because I should probably change everything to tuning101. Dude, Salem, I appreciate that, brother. Jeff, it happens. It happens. It's not the end of the world. So I know that there's guys out there that got hit a lot worse than me. You know those guys that get 6,000 subscribers every day? Yeah. One of the dogs is outside scratching. I don't know if you can hear that. So let's see who all we got here. We got VJ, of course. Nick D is back. Chris N is here. Zero, what's going on? Red X Avery, good to see you again. M Sup as usual. David Estrada, Global Media is back as always, telling everybody to hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed. Russ Payne, good to see you again. Sean B has a one-on-one tomorrow. Looking forward to that, Sean. We've got some ideas on his sweet Camaro. SS8 is back as usual. Frank, Dub, Colton, Nick, Jeff H, man, look at it. I just love it, man. This is a weekly family reunion. Rob and John, the other Rob, good to see him in here. Mike Thompson, of course, Salem. Chris Kirtley, you a new one. What's going on, 325 Sonoma? Chad Gill, Racer Glenn's back, straight dumb as usual, asking the good questions. What is up, Remy? And Geo, as usual. Well, I appreciate that, Nick D. Hey, Josh Marmelo. Good to see you again, Mr. Riddinger. And Matthew Granillo. Look at this, man. We're just up to 40. I don't have anything pressing to talk about tonight other than I got a gripe session here. And this is not necessarily car related. What's up, PCM? Blue Fox. Man, love seeing all the old schools. I'm sorry. Putting a 6-liter Power Stroke back in the F-130. Hey, bro, I got a haircut the other day. In fact, it's as I said, it's not mullet. It's all long. I'm a hippie. I spent so many years on and off in the Air Force that I just broke down. I was like, I'm going to grow my hair out because I just haven't been able to. And yeah, exactly. It's 90s grunge. But I got a gripe session, and you guys get to hear me out on this one because I'm getting reassessed on my taxes, uh, on my property taxes by the school district. Ugh. Well, the thing about it is, out here, I live in the highest tax district, anyways, in the area, and they are, yeah, exactly. Grab a beer. They're targeting me because I bought my house a couple years ago. The way they do it out here is that the tax assessment bureau goes out and they do a yearly assessment, and then that rate sticks in for however many years. And then a couple years down the road, they do another assessment, which is fine. But since we bought our house with a couple years ago, the school board thought, well, they paid uh, money for this house that's more than what it says on the tax assessment, so uh, we need to go ahead and tax them more money, right? Well, so that went to the assessment bureau. The assessment bureau said, no, no, their house is properly assessed. They don't need to pay more taxes. And so then the school district went back and appealed it again. Yes, Sean, taxation is they appealed it again. And so now I have to go to court on the 15th because of this appeals process. And so I filed for a Freedom of Information Act request today from the school district, asking for all the billable hours that their lawyers are charging based on this appeals process. And so I'll be anxious to see if I get that back. Yeah, exactly, Nick. That's the only thing that's been improved on this property. And it'd be different if there were improvements. That's the big thing, is the law says that generally you can't appeal for a reassessment unless there's been improvements since the last time there was an assessment done, and there was not improvements on the property since the last assessment. So this is just, that's my gripe session. I normally don't gripe about stuff outside of cars. I could sit here and gripe all day long about HP tuners and their ripoff that is the Pro interface. And that's usually the kind of stuff that I save for Friday night impromptus. Yes, Rob, back to Oklahoma, where I can afford the taxes. Nick D, how much are we talking here? My guess is my taxes will double if I don't fight this. So I would be down with it if I built a shop out here or something. Well, Sean, I know I've owned houses in Texas too, but you don't pay state income taxes, so it's hard to complain about that. I would be fine with a yearly assessment on my property taxes. Racer Glenn, yes, you're probably right. Well, the thing about it is I kind of live in an area where it wouldn't make much of a difference other than making me look like the idiot. There you go. Hey, this is basically a cult, right? There we go. Maybe I could just start doing all this tax free. Okay, who's talking about cars? Who's got cars? We're talking about taxes. Enough tax BS. Nick says, let's plan a garage test and tune day one weekend next summer. That sounds like a good idea, and I'm totally down to do that. As we move closer into spring, Nick, we will set something up. We kind of need to figure out what the schedules are going to look like, because I'm going to have to go out and start doing some stuff during, during the year. Probably going to have to go to LS Fest, things like that. So. Chad, map sensor failed during SD tuning. Well, you can't SD tune without a map sensor. You mean mass airflow sensor fail? Russ, the 30334 plug and play, is that the OBD2 one? I don't know the part number off the top of my head. Well, good, Nick. I need a break from tuning anyways. I'm just teasing you, man. Oklahoma, Zero says, speaking of Oklahoma, it's time for her to do her bipolar weather crap. That's always fun. What kind of temperature shift can constitute a new VE tune? Good question, Mike. What kind of temperature shift constitutes a new VE tune? Colder weather in particular, because you are going to have denser air, which will move you possibly into a different range of your volumetric efficiency table. But honestly, if you are Math, math only, you're probably fine, man. If you smoothed out, if you did your VE tuning properly and smoothed out from the areas that you're hitting on your map when you're doing your VE tuning, you should be all right. Chad Whitaker, your new map sensor is failing. Did you change the range on your map sensor? Because that could cause a map sensor failure reading. What's going on, Chevy for Life? Welcome back. Rob Merrill, altitude is one thing. It plays the same role. Altitude will mess up a VE table just like it. It's not as much of an issue on Generation 5 stuff because we use pressure ratio, which is barometric pressure divided by manifold absolute pressure. And so it kind of is always going to be in the same area. Uh, you don't necessarily move the entire table, Nicholas D. You want to specifically just hit the edges. It's a work night. I don't drink beer on work nights. Yeah, well, and straight dumb's right. Closed loop will fix temp differences as well, as long as you are running a little bit rich on your wide open throttle. Where you're going into open loop, you should not have much of an issue. That, and on top of it, if you still have your map in there, you're going to be good. Let's see here. What else? I know I already skipped a couple things. Oh yeah, chat. No. Yeah, the OBD2 one. Who was asking about that one? I would run it on my next setup, Sean. The OBD2 one. You have to have a 2008 or later because those are the CAN generation cars and it is a CAN bus. But I would definitely consider that on the next one. I like the idea of it, and I believe it has the fastest polling rate out of any widebands out there right now. Chevy for Life asks, question, are you ever going to do some fuel mileage tuning, and is there some sort of rule of thumb for timing on fuel mileage? I'm not really sure, because you got to realize that fuel mileage tuning, for the most part, is just closed loop. Closed loop nowadays is so smart that it's always going to be your best fueling for that situation, your cruising speed. Timing probably doesn't play a whole lot into it. At that rate, whenever you're looking at that like 1500 RPM, 800 to 1500 RPM range based on what transmission you're running and stuff like that, it is really hard to get much more fuel mileage out of this. Other than the problem is once you get into tuning, you start making more power and you just want to put your foot into it more. Oh. Probably not, Sean. Probably not much fuel mileage gains to be made on the Gen 5 cars other than turning off this DOD. Yeah. Straight dumb is also correct on this one, where there's not much you can do whenever you go back in the closed loop because it is dumb narrow bands. But if you get your if you do wideband tuning on your VE and your mass airflow, your narrow bands will not have to work as much, and so it might actually be a little bit better. But I wouldn't be looking for anything crazy. Temperature data system, Rob. Use a TD system on the airplane, contend with all altitudes, temperatures, and bad gas. Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, as I said, they did a good thing on the 5th gen by going to pressure ratio. It only makes sense. I'm surprised they didn't do that on 4th gen. Well, let's see here. Harry Johnson says, Nick says, what does CAN bus mean? CAN bus is a communications protocol, Nick. That's all it is. And it is what there's a whole but there's numbers that are involved with this. It's like J4556 or something like that. That is the official name for the protocol number, but it's just a communications protocol. Dan Golf, I'm having a problems with getting STFT and LTFT to show anything. Can it be turned off somehow? Most likely, Dan Golf. You should either that or your tune is the best tune on the face of the planet. Yeah, it's turned off somewhere. You need to dig through the oxygen sensor tab. If you have your original tune file, your as found or whatever, dig through the oxygen sensor tab and then the closed loop tab and make sure none of that has been swapped out. Chevy for Life, what did you do to pick up the 6 miles per gallon on the highway? Josh says, I've been reading about fuel mileage tunes, been running 1.2. Well, you could definitely do that. You can do lean cruise. That's one way of doing it. There you go. Colton's there. Closed area networks, CAN bus. Uh, Remy with a 2005 Chevy truck stock 5.3, seeing knock randomly during upshifts, downshifts. Would that be transmission torque management doing that? Remy, you should be able to log transmission spark or torque management spark, and it will tell you if that is what's pulling that. So there is a parameter on there for torque management spark. Doo-ba-doo. Got so much information flowing through here. Red X-ray. How much pain tuning a 6-liter cam swap, 228, 230, 112 degree to 222, 232, 108 LSA. You shouldn't have much of an issue. That's really, a little bit more intake and just barely some exhaust. You're going to have some overlap, so you'll have some issue, going down to the 108 degrees LSA, you're going to have some overlap down on the bottom end, but that's not a super aggressive step on that. I mean, you're actually losing intake, I see, in picking up exhaust, but you still, the overlap is going to be the thing, Red X-ray. PCT as kind of a broad question, but is it fairly common to be able to revive a brick ECU with a bench harness? I honestly do not know, and I know that it is very specific on the ECM because it's whether or not you can get into the boot sectors on that stuff and basically rewrite that. And so that is something I have no experience with. I would like to. I do not have time, honestly. That's the kind of stuff I love doing in my free time. I do not have time anymore. Interesting, Josh. That makes some sense, I guess. And it's just because you're running hotter, I'm taking it. Sean Brimhall is asking O2 placement. I read posts from a few well-known tuners that wideband O2s can be placed after a primary cat. They said that the cat will only alter the readings at idle and little part throttle. That is not true. The cats will alter the readings. Just yeah, it's going to happen. You can test that out pretty easily, Sean. And the thing about it, well, I say you can test that out. They're going to say that it alters the reading at little part throttle or light part throttle because that's whenever you can run in closed loop and you can compare your wideband to your long-term fuel trims to see how well the wideband's reading. But if it's off at part throttle, it's going to be off at wide open throttle. Ernesto says in the 04 GTO we have lean cruise, and that's probably because it's a Holden. That would make sense. And that's the other issue that Straight Dumb brought up is the wideband signal will get delayed, meaning that you will get error ratios in the wrong cells. What's going on, Paul? Welcome back, brother. Of course, man. Dan Golf, on idle for that, check your airflow. You will have to probably lower your airflow because of the increased overlap. Idle airflow. The increased overlap on a cam will require lower idle airflow generally. Oh, we're at 61 already. I know we're shooting for 80 tonight. We're almost 20 minutes in. We should at least break 70. I mean, I hate to get too crazy. S10 says, I heard Sloppy Mechanics mention tuning idle for just making it sound as you'd like. Ever think of doing a video on that? Yeah, S10. In fact, I was helping one of the patrons out the other night get a lumpy idle on his truck, and it's not bad. It's not hard to do. You need to lower your RPMs down to the point and then start pulling some timing back. So, a lot of cam guys will run the timing out to 20, 25 degrees of spark to do a lumpy idle. If you're normally targeting like 850 RPMs, drop it down to about 700 RPMs and pull it back to about 15 degrees of timing, and it will start getting really lumpy. And then you need to make adjustments to the cam correction, the stuff or the idle correction stuff, so it doesn't overcorrect a zone. Like normally it will start adjusting timing as soon as you get about 15 RPMs off of your set point. Bump that out to where you got like a 50 RPM window to allow that thing to kind of whoop, whoop, whoop. I'll do a video on it one of these days. Nick D, what kind of surge? You're asking what affects surge. What kind of surge? You feel like you get a little bit more than that, more than before. Makes me feel like, gotcha. Guys, I'm trying to keep up with you tonight, but we've got so much stuff rolling through here. So if I miss you, by all means, you can always post it down in the comments, and I will try to answer it afterwards. As I said, just trying to bounce through here and keep the things rolling here. So if I missed something, I apologize, guys. James Barnhart, total noob to tuning. Used to build engines for a living back in disturbed days. Thanks for the info you put on. Yeah, of course, James. Thought you had a question. You were just praising the channel. I appreciate you watching. Throw that thumbs up on any videos that you enjoy. That helps the channel out the most. Hey, Carl, what's going on? Hey, Wallace, there you are. Nine my cool. Could you clarify how to tune ignition timing, please? Should I advance the timing every pull till I reach knock, then I'm retarded? You can do it that way. That's generally how I do it. I don't get crazy off into the weeds whenever I do timing. I will go out. I will advance it 2 degrees of spark, specifically in the areas that I need the power. I'm not too worried about down in this part of the map or whenever we're off throttle. But you know where you're going to be as you accelerate your vehicle. Advance it up 2 degrees, start getting into spark, then bring it back or knock, bring it back 2 degrees. What is the P0140, Paul? Never mind. I got you. I got you. DFCO had been turned off for about 2 years. It's a wonder you hadn't cooked your cats completely out. Appreciate it, Michael. Appreciate it. I'm only awesome because you guys are awesome. Couldn't do this without you guys. Honestly. John asked, have you come across a P0300 random misfire detected with a big cam? Is there a way to log and correct for it? If so, what range were you in, John? And I appreciate you pulling over to ask questions. Sounds good, 325. Thank you for stopping by as always, man. What'd I miss? What'd I miss? It's flowing in now. Oh yeah, Carl Rick, it's dirt floor. Thanks PCT, appreciate the burnout, man. There, in fact, hold on. Let me show you. Let's jump over to the tune screen. Let me find one, Carl, so I can show you exactly what we're talking about. Somebody else was asking about this. I don't think it was actually you, though, surprisingly. May have been more than one people asking about changing displacement. Boo, 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 boo. Let's see if we can get this to work. That is so huge. I've got to fix that. There we go. If you go under the general tab here, you're going to have a couple options. One of them being the engine type. I don't know what this one actually does, but you can adjust it there. Then you need to do your calculations on your cylinders. This is a cylinder volume. So if you have a 5.3 liter, 5.3 divided by 8 is going to be 0.66594, Carl. This is where you want to do that. That is under engine and general. What have I missed here? Rob says, check out the driveway engineer. He walks you through wiping a PCM, ECM, and getting an entirely new OS. Awesome, Rob. Rob, Uh, if you get a chance, do me a favor and throw that down below. There's some slight buzzing going on, really. Oh, no, sorry guys, that is my laptop. My laptop fan's on right now because the thing's a little bit hot. Let me see if I can move it back if it makes it less apparent. Thing's running hot. Yeah. As Dirt Floor says, the firing order is all the same for the most part on the V8s. There's when did they switch over to change the number 4 cylinder or whatever? Carl asks, "What's the best 2-bar map sensor for the Gen 4 truck? Whichever one fits." CIA sound, not mechanical. They might be listening in. I don't know what else would be causing a hum up here. Here, I'll mute it and you tell me if it goes away. Yeah, it's because I muted it to see if it went away. Blue Fox, I'm jealous. Blue Fox got a new X1 Carbon. I run a Dell XPS 13, the one with the carbon fiber part on it. Yeah, so it's just the microphone picking something up. I tell you, I'm pretty sure it's probably the fans on this thing. They sound like a hum. Okay, let's go back over here. Straight dumb. When I log driver demand with the same axis as a tuning table, the values logged are way different than in my table. Should I change my table to match the logs? No. Okay, straight dumb. What's your car again? Help me out here, because this is something I've been working on. This is very convoluted. Hey guys, we need to start a new section specifically for. We are going to talk about torque tuning. Straight dumb. Yeah, exactly. 2018 Silverado. What are your mods? Hey Rob, put that down in the not in the chat, but in the actual comments for the video, please. Oh, TVS 2300. Okay. So, what has happened here? This is your values. If you were to map your values for the driver demand table, mine does the same thing with the Pro Charger setup. What is going on here is that those are okay. It gets really weird. It's hard to this is why I haven't put out a driver demand video yet for torque tuning, because there's no way of necessarily making this information completely match up. So you have to do your volumetric efficiency and you have to do your mass airflow tuning properly to be able to get accurate torque representations, because the torque calculations are based off of your air, be it air mass or manifold air pressure. So one of those two values generally is going to be air mass, and then you know, because that's what we run in the majority of the time, especially whenever you're in the higher stages. So that is what creates the delivered engine torque value. So we have two different areas that we necessarily have to mess with torque, and that's the driver demand table, which directly requests the amount of torque that it wants to see, and it is either a engine or an axle torque. If it's a big ass number, that means it's axle torque, and if it is a number less than 1,000, it is engine torque. Then you have your virtual torque tables, which is the engine's ability to create power. And so that table literally says at this RPM and this air mass, this should be the amount of power this engine makes. That has to be adjusted appropriately also, because that determines how much airflow and spark can be delivered at point A, point B. And the problem that you'll see is if the engine overruns that, that's whenever it starts pulling back spark and closing the throttle body off. Now, that driver demand table, the numbers on that thing, I'm not sure that those are necessarily a direct torque comparison. That's the way I always kind of treated them, but then I would notice that I would keep on getting out and about and getting crazier numbers. Well, I put the stock ones back in the other day, and the truck is far from stock on that level. and bumped everything else out, and the torque requests were going way higher than what was on the table. That's probably what you're seeing, right, Straight Dumb? Seeing way higher values than you're seeing on your driver demand table. So I don't necessarily think that, and this is something that happens all the time, that table is labeled correctly in this situation, because I think that it is a driver demand table, but I don't think it is referencing torque directly as an output from the engine or the axles. I think that it is one of the calculations that is being done around the whole torque modeling system. If you look, HP Tuners has a chart out there showing this is all the stuff that goes into the different blocks that you eventually get the things that gets the power output. So yes, it might be HP Tuner's fault, but that doesn't mean that we can't tune with it. The thing about it is that we do know that there is a direct reference point from the throttle input to the amount of power that the engine is making. It is less important probably than the actual virtual torque tables. Those are going to be the very important ones that you get dialed in after you get your airflow and stuff, because they will limit your power output. The driver demand seems to change the response more than anything. Awesome, Chris. That's a great book. Okay, sorry about that. I know I missed all kinds of stuff on here going on to the weekly torque rant. I am working on a video specifically for that, but it's hard. It's hard to try and figure out a way of talking about that subject. It's a very in-depth subject. So oh, Corey says, hate to post again, but hoping for hope. 2005 C6 Spark rev limiter set to 6,800 and has seen 7,100 with no sign of limiter. Out of ideas. Let me open up a C6 file real quick. See what we're looking at on that one, because that's an interesting question. You should be hitting it. What do I got? I don't have a 2006 Corvette. I got 2008. It should be the same. Well, no, it might be a little bit different. We'll take a look at it. So you're going into fuel cutoff tab, right? Fuel cutoff, RPM limits. You've got spark enabled where it's normally disabled. Corey? Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Corey. I mean, it's basically should be working. You need to probably ask around on the forums and see if uh, Spark works as a control method on that engine setup. Bump it way down. Like bring your extreme cutout and your in gear cutoffs. Bring them way down. Bring them down to like 4,500 and see if you can force it. See if it ever hits. What have I missed here? Nine My Cool ask about throttle response. Throttle response on a drive-by-wire car is kind of a misnomer. It is just on the later generations, on the Gen 5 stuff, and maybe some of the Gen 4 stuff, torque management might mess with throttle response a little bit, but it is just tuning your car properly is the first step to getting good throttle response. Because if your airflow model is not tuned properly, your throttle response will be bad. Yeah, and it might be something with the E40 Corey. As I said, I would lure them way down and see if you could get into it. You know, bring it down. You can bring it down to like $3,000 and see if you can go up to $6,000 on it. Chevy for life. What'd you say? I didn't even see it. Chevy for life. Hey, can you tell me when I change my rev limiter on E38 Gen 4? Why would it not allow PE? I don't know. It's got to have something to be with your hysteresis. Chevy for life, maybe. Are you Are you sure that it is not hitting PE? I hate to be that guy, but did you scrub through at your logs at a very slow speed? Make sure that you're not getting into PE. There's only so many things that can withhold PE. Now, granted, there are a couple cars out there that, for some reason, for some reason, PE goes really wonky on them. Carl, is there a way to read EGR? I don't, not that I know of. Oh, read EGR for wideband. Probably. There should be plenty of tutorials out. Google that, Carl. There's plenty of tutorials about using EGR and AC circuits for widebands. Yeah. I mean, drive-by-wire is not the end of all worlds. It just feels weird. Takes a little getting used to. Dude, Andrew Graves, listen, yes. Andrew asked, any ETA on a video for scaling big injectors on the E40 PCMs? For example, yes. Yes. Andrew, this is coming up. I promise you. I've got lots of people asking this specific question. I'm going to put something out on that. Yeah, PCT, you're one of them. Dirty little four cylinder. But that is another one that I want to do properly because there's ways of doing band-aid tunes that I do not necessarily want to do information along those. I want to get the uh whole enchilada. It might be a 2 or 3 video series, honestly, because there's a lot that you need to do proper injector scaling on the E40s. PCT, send me your current tune and a log of it not hitting so I can see it, please. Because I want to figure that out. James asks, if ECM reads narrow bands only, what keeps LTFT from negating your wideband bass tune over time? James, the thing about it is that we target stoic generally whenever we're doing our wideband tune. And this is the reason that we don't have to get it more accurate than, say, 5% or so, because we do let the LTFTs finish it off. And for the most part, they're not super accurate, but they're very accurate around stoic. The whole design of a narrow band is to switch at stoic, and so as long as those things are switching, what they call switching, tipping over a set point on there, you are running stoic, and they work pretty good for dialing in. That's why they disable whenever they go into wide open throttle, and they also are great for whenever you have things like climate change, not the type that melts ice caps, and altitude changes. Atomic Punk, not a dumb question. How often should the MAF and VVE be dialed in when adding boost? Like if I add 5 psi, should the MAF scale be redone? Yes. Both of them should be done because you will be in a entirely new section of both the MAF range and the VVE range. It is not a dumb question. This is something that you need to do. Going boost up. If you go down in the boost, your mass airflow sensor will be perfectly fine, but your volumetric efficiency table might be different. What's going on, Bill? Glad you made it before we're 2 away from 70, so maybe we get at least 2 more to show up. 92, where you at? There we go. There we go. Yeah, Nick D says, you said you saw a higher throttle on the MAF with my car and the torque management. Can you rattle on briefly how and what you saw? Nick, you were, that is another one. You can see the through the mass airflow sensor, or not the mass airflow sensor, through the manifold air pressure sensor. You can see if you have any restrictions in your intake track. Well, oh God, Chevy for life. You need to get her on board. Get her a car. Get her a sports car. Go out and get her a C6. So I saw where you shifted up an entire row, got lower, not up, but higher on your manifold air pressure Nick, which means that you had less restriction on your intake manifold, and that is because your throttle body was closing because of virtual torque. That's all right, Tanner. I won't remember your name most likely. I mean, there's only, hey, 70, here we go. The only person's name that I remember on here is the other Nick, whose screen name is Harry Johnson, because I hate saying Harry Johnson all night. Rick's performance. What temp does the hot table take effect on a 4L80 for the torque converter? I honestly have no clue on that, Rick. Sorry. You've stumped me. You should win a prize. There's probably a table out there for it somewhere, though. Underneath trans diagnostics, maybe? Surely it's not the over temp. That's 284 degrees. Maybe it is. That's not that high, though. What's that thing normally run, Rick? Would it be? Well, I'm not looking. I'm looking at 6L80 here, but it's 284. Yeah. So maybe that is it. Underneath the trans diagnostics on the general, there's a trans over temp. Maybe you didn't stump me. Eduardo G says, any tips on dialing a cam on a Gen 5 2014 Silverado? I got Texas Speed Cam Stage 3 with phase limiter, cold air intake, running E85. Truck already had a tune. Should I download a fresh stock tune? No, you shouldn't need to do that, Eduardo. You should be able to get away with the tune that you have in there. But I do have a video out there that I put out in the last week or so that talks about Gen 5 idle tuning that will help you possibly. It is a very complicated process. Let me pull it up here. I'll just drop a link to you. Idle. It is going to be torque related, and you are going to have to lower some of your torque settings, Eduardo. There. You will have to lower some of your torque settings that I talk about in here to get the thing to tune properly. Do not be surprised if you cannot command more than 10 or 15 degrees of timing on this with a cam. That's because of torque. I have a hard time commanding positive timing on my setup. Oh yeah, we just broke 75. We're at 76, gentlemen. Oh yeah. Man, I hope we hit 80. I don't know why that was flagged. Eduardo, getting knock on gear change is possibly due to your torque model being off also. Okay. ECM pin IAT2 input on E92. No, Mr. Moore. No clue on that one. There's got to be a LT4 PCM diagram out there somewhere, though. Yeah, straight dumb. I can pull more than 6 degrees of timing, but I have to make the thing run like absolute crap. So it seems to like it whenever I have right around 0 degrees on mine, which I'm fine with. I mean, it's a direct injected engine. This isn't the old school technology. If it were port, I'd be worried about it. But hey, Paul, appreciate it, brother. Have a sweet, sweet smoky burnout. Well, somebody just said it, Rob Merrill. The ECM for the is the E92A for the LT4. I do not know, Carl, off the top of my head, whether or not you can go over 255 kPa with the E38, but somebody here will probably chime in with an E38. VCP spark table under VCT. PCT with the VCT spark table under. Hold on, Blake. Let me open up one of your old tunes so I can see what you're talking about. Man, my computer's running slow. see what I'm missing here. You guys are just blowing my minds. I'm having a hard time keeping up here. Okay. Oh, I'm sitting here waiting for this thing to load up for transmission diagnostics. VC, VCT, VCP. Oh, this is a mouthful. Variable cam, spark modification based on variable cam. Ow. Hey, didn't you wipe out most of your settings on your variable cam anyways, PCT? Zero that table out, see what happens. You're not going to hurt anything. Just zero it out, see how your car runs. There you go, like Paul said. Especially because that is based on your variable cam timing, and I know that you've simplified your variable cam timing. Rob, you are correct. The government is following me very closely. I got my tinfoil cap on. God, my hair looks terrible tonight. Because I got a hat on forward makes me look like an idiot. Okay. That's interesting, P. Moore. P. Moore, what's your first name? Peter, I'm guessing. Are you a Peter or a Paul? Trying to install a TMAP sensor to run both IAT and IAT2. Preston. Straight dumb. I am trying to install that this weekend. He's asking about the boost controller that the guys over at Max Effort sent me. Thanks to those guys if they're watching tonight. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. What's going on, Frankie? Welcome to the channel. I mean, welcome back. You've been here before. This is not a mullet, people. I have long hair. Stop saying that I got a mullet. What do you mean the bottom fell out, TJ? Good Lord. Justin says, Kyle, is it common for VVE table to be greater than -16 throughout table after MAF dial-in when doing speed density the first time? Being 16% off, Justin? Totally common. Ugh, dirt floor. Yeah, buddy. TH400 for the truck fun. Rob, I'm no longer in the Air Force. That's why I have this sweet mane of hair. Thank you for the sweet smoky burnout. As always, dirt floor, you are the man. Preston says the Whipple only uses IAT setup broken out of the MAF. Yeah, that's the way mine runs, but it's not a Whipple. I was going to experiment and run both the TMAP and IAT like the Z06 does. TMAP is running great remapping to the IAT. So are you wanting to get before and after temperatures on your IAT stuff? Ah, got you, TJ. Just standard rain. Thought you had drenched yourself in oil. Hey, Andrew, welcome, man. Welcome. I wish the other people that were just in here 5 minutes ago would have stuck around because we just had like 5 people show up. We would have hit 80 tonight. But we've held 73. We're holding real steady over 70. Dude, I used to have a mullet. See, Nick, you're bailing on us. It's going to be your fault. We're going to hit 79 tonight. You got 12 minutes left. Yeah, Robert. You're probably getting close to retirement, though. Dude, we're getting popular around here, Andrew. You need to show up more often. Ooh, Justin got a low power DTC when switching to SD tuning. What was your DTC that put you in low power, man? Really, Charlie? You don't like the Whipple? 30 years, Rob. Wow. How long are you going for? How long before they kick you out? You got to be a chief by now, right? Yeah, I'm famous in Japan. 34. What you going to hit? You're going to hit. You going to hit Chief then? 1 bar away. Come on, brother. You got 4 years. Man, I'm just kind of sitting back and watching all the interactions going on here. It's good to see people talking. I love it. Rob says, haven't blown enough engines. Yeah, Rob, it's time. It's about time. John, you did not fail the ASVAB. You may have failed the Air Force's version of the ASVAB, but nobody can fail the ASVAB as far as the Army's concerned. There's a waiver for everything. Man, that sucks that you have a 2.3 Whipple for a 2010 Denali, but there's not a pulley for it. Nobody makes a pulley for it, Charlie. The Army has a waiver for everything, John. You're in here, so you surely could have passed to ASVAB. Nick, you should probably wait until your car's running good now before you start throwing nitrous on it. Yeah, ask Paul. In fact, Paul, I believe that the Coast Guard has lower standards than the Army for the ASVAB. Yeah, I know, Rob, but I just like giving people crap since I was in the Air Force. It's like we said, I was on a busload of jarheads over in Iraq. Me and one other Air Force guy were sitting in the back of the bus, and they're talking about, oh, we've been here for all these months, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, how long are you guys here? And we're like, oh, we're here for like 6 months. They go, how did you do that? And my buddy, straight faced as all, looks at him and goes, well, we passed the ASVAB. I thought we were going to get our asses beat. Oh, John, I thought so. I thought you were pulling my leg. Bingo. Oh, yeah, we get the best hotels. Whenever I was in South Korea, we were staying in Billowing, which was basically a hotel. The Army guys were out on the golf course in tents. Good to hear, Justin. Good to hear. If it happens again, pay attention to what DTC code it throws and let me know. Just out of curiosity. You're getting miscellaneous zone failures data on VVE. I have not seen that one. Have you updated your uh, software lately? Go out and grab the latest beta, Justin. See if that helps resolve that. Oh, awesome, Remy. Glad to hear it, man. I'm really bad about getting stuff mailed out. I'm to the point where I only really mail stuff out on the weekend. So a lot of that stuff does not. Yes, the chair force. A lot of that stuff does not go out. In fact, any new patrons that have signed up in the last week, your stuff is running behind because I've ran out of koozies. But you are getting the new official koozies. I've got 150 of them coming in the mail, hopefully tomorrow. And if you were a part of the virtual car show last month or earlier this month, you will be getting one of the new koozies also. So keep your eyes peeled. we're, we're not going to get into that kind of stuff. Hey, I'm totally fine with being in the chair force, man. 92, you are one of them. Yes, you are yours. I said, hopefully getting them out this weekend. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, it is about time for wrap up. So maybe we can answer one more question, or I mean, we haven't really had very many questions here. Andrew, service break soon. Yeah, vacuum from the new cam will do that. So you might look at trying to adjust your idle to get more vacuum on the low end. Dead time symptoms. You're going to have to elaborate, Nine My Cool. I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. Bad injector's dead time system. Not sure about this weekend, Ross. I'll keep you posted. This weekend's probably not looking like I'm going to have to do a live one this weekend. So next Thursday for sure. Justin, there's 2 spots available on one-on-one. But we're getting close to the end of the month, so you may want to wait until next month unless you want to try to squeeze in a session this month also. So obviously, if you get in on one-on-one this month and we don't get all of your time used, we can use some of it next month. I'm not going to screw people out of their time. If you pay for it, you're going to get it. So can you get rid of that code, Andrew? Yeah, but the problem being that you're going to probably need to get rid of the code by clearing it and getting rid of the condition, and then you can try and disable the code. So you adjust your idle up until it clears out and doesn't return, and then go in and disable the DTC. Yes, Dan Golf. If your 98 Jeep Cherokee is on the supported list but it doesn't work, you need to upgrade to the latest software. DZ Garage, you can tune partial throttle and idle without a wideband. You cannot do wide open throttle. Nick D, you are more than welcome to donate a 30-minute session. If you want to, let me know. yeah, you can't upsell. You can't sell my time. Yes. If you get $100 for a 30-minute session, let me know and I will up my price. Okay, guys, let's do the end of the night spiel here. As always, I want to thank you for stopping by the garage. We hit 74 tonight. We almost got to 80. We will hit it here soon. I want to thank all the new subscribers, all the new patrons. Listen, if you have ever thought about becoming a patron, there's no better time than now. It is a great way to learn some insights for tuning, get some behind the scenes stuff, get the, you got some options of getting into some of the drawings that we do over there. That's kind of patrons only stuff. And so check it out. You can go to the www.goatropegarage.com. There's links to the Patreon there. There's links to the merch. Get your sweet Intune shirts or the ABT shirt or the tuning, making horsepower while staying clean shirt. It's about time for hoodie weather. I need to get mine. So our Instagram, Nick D's Instagram at Goat Rope Garage. Am I going to have to go out there and make sure that you're not posting stuff on there you should be posting, Nick? So, but that being said, as always, I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your Thursday nights for coming and spending time with us. This is the most fun thing that I do all week. I always enjoy seeing the familiar faces and the new faces. So thanks for that. ABT, always be tuning. And see you guys next Thursday.